Good morning, Patrick coming here to you live from Complete Health again. Just wanted to go through something that's probably one of the most common things to walk through. But first of all, I just wanted to flash this cool hoodie that I got from Tiamo Franco. His Infinite Being Co. His company is essentially functional training, movement patterns. Tiamo is actually my training coach, so I'm just rocking his hoodie this morning. He's just put these out. I've actually got a couple of his clients come in and see me in the clinic, and I've seen a couple of these really cool purple hoodies running in with his massive logos on the back, so I just wanted to give him a big shout out first. So what I want to talk about, most common thing, or one of the most common things I see walking into the clinic is nerve problems. Nerve problems and what causes them, and some of the most common symptoms you might see with a nerve problem, and then some of the most common causes of those nerve problems. So, some of the symptoms of nerve problem: tingling, numbness, or coldness. So, a lack of sensation, So you might feel that your hands are numb, pins and needly. You might even wake up with pins and needles, especially if you've got something like neck pain. You may actually find that you wake up quite a lot in the morning with pins and needles in your hands. Another thing that you might actually see with nerve problems or nerve compression or nerve issues is you might find you get stuff like headaches. Now, in serious cases, if it gets bad enough, especially in the lumbar spine and the lower back, you can actually start to find that it affects your organs as well. So you can start to find that actually controlling stuff like going to the toilet, especially the bladder, and things such as your bowel function. You may get stuff like indigestion as well. So when people get into serious nerve compressions and they've got stuff like numbness and tingling, and then they start to develop indigestion and stuff like that as well, that's really common with nerve injuries in the lower back. Some other things that you might start to see: muscle weakness, or actually the other way around, muscle spasticity, which is essentially going into spasms or very, very, very tight. So depending on what happens with the nerve, whether the nerve goes into an excited mode or an inhibited mode, if it gets excited, it's going to do more, which means that we actually get increases in sensation. So this would be stuff like increased pain, increased burning or buzzing, and also your muscles will go into spasm. Whereas obviously if you get an inhibited nerve or a blocked nerve, as your muscles go weak, you'll find there's a weakness from one side to the other. And that's when you tend to get stuff like the fuzzing and the pins and needles. You get a loss of sensation instead. Now, with me, what I find with, by the way, probably the most common thing you see with nerve compressions or nerve problems is pain. But actually, a lot of the time, people can have nerve compression or nerve problems without absolutely any pain at all. So some of the other things that you see where there's no pain, but there's still nerve compressions, stuff like loss of balance, changes with the eyes. Like I said, headaches. You might not necessarily get pains that you feel like are something to do with the nerves, but especially the nerves over the top of the neck and around the neck and shoulders can actually not give you nerve pain as you might expect. It actually gives you pain up into the head. Stuff like balance, like I say, that can really seriously change when people's nerves, especially again in the neck, are starting to be compressed as well. But some of the most common reasons why nerves go funky, because it's not always pressure on a nerve that causes a nerve to actually dysfunction. Some of the other things that may actually cause for nerves to change, one, physical. So we've got a damage in the spine that actually starts to put a pressure on the nerve. We may even find that you get inflammation. So you may have had a physical injury that causes swelling. That swelling can also squash onto the nerve and irritate the nerve. All the hormones from inflammation can actually irritate the nerve roots as well. But some of the things that we don't think about: alcohol consumption. Alcohol consumption is a massive thing for actually inhibiting and changing the way that nerves work. Another thing, not getting enough B or D vitamins can massively start to affect the way that our nerves start to fire. So both of those vitamins actually help the nerves to actually function at a better level. They actually improve the signals, and actually sometimes too much and not enough can start to actually make nerve pain start to occur. Some of the other things that I've seen, especially in athletes, They put a lot of B vitamins and something called beta-alanine into sports supplements, and this can actually start to give you that fuzzing, that tingling, and almost that pins and needly effect into your hands. So actually taking supplements can cause nerve irritation as well as take it away. Now, some of the other things that I might see is lack of sleep, lack of looking after the body, and immense levels of stress. Lack of exercise, lack of movement. These are all major causes of nerve irritation. Now, nerves need to be used. If they're not used enough, then they can start to degenerate. Now, the final thing that I might see with clients, and this one's very rare, and this is the genetic stuff. So things like Parkinson's, MS. Now, my experience with these conditions is they are non-treatable. And I just want to make that explicitly clear. However, I do work with MS and Parkinson's patients, and a lot of them get really, really good results. Now, the reason being is that we're not actually treating the condition, we're managing the way that their body functions. So working on their muscle strength, working on their nerves, working on their joints, keeping them moving, stopping them from being stiff. So with these really serious genetic conditions such as Parkinson's and MS, though we cannot treat the condition and get rid of it, we can a lot of the time manage these things and help make those people's lives a lot more comfortable. So if you know anyone that maybe suffers with things like that and they want to know a little bit more, obviously just get them to leave us a message because we're happy to talk about those kinds of things. But realistically, some of the major things that I see causing nerve issues, they almost always come down to three things. Either a physical injury, so they're doing too much or they're not doing enough. A chemical thing, so the foods that we're putting in our body, we're not getting enough nutrients, or we're putting in toxins that actually inhibit the nerve endings. And finally, emotional stuff, stress, high levels of stress, especially emotional stress, especially with everything that's going on right now, can really drive up a certain part of our brain called the sympathetic nervous system. And this can really have a huge and serious effect on the way that our brain sends its signals on a day-to-day basis. So if you need any more information, please just leave us some comments below. I personally will answer these messages myself, and I would be happy to have these discussions because nothing makes me happier than discussing neurological stuff with my clients. Till tomorrow, I will see you soon. Take care.